Okay. Good evening. My name's Greg Hahn, Chairman of the Board of Indianapolis Public Transportation Corporation. And this is our monthly board meeting, May 26th, and it is 5 o'clock p.m. And with that, we'll do the roll call.
Thank you, sir. Please indicate your attendance. Ms. Pace.
Present.
Mr. Gardner.
Present.
Ms. Fagan.
Present.
Mr. Abdullah.
Present.
Thank you, sir. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Next is item number 2, awards and commendations. And do we have any awards or commendations that we would like to present this evening? And it's a president and CEO, Inez Evans.
Did I move too fast? I'm sorry.
No,
yes, I do, Mr. Chair. Good evening, board members. Inez Evans, President and CEO of IndyGo. We do have a few awards and accommodations and announcements we'd like to share with you. I'm stalling while Charlie brings it up.
It's not wonderful. Up 1 second.
Okay. Everybody's ready for this great weather we're having for the weekend. Okay, I'll just keep going here.
I can pull it up, but it won't be able to be shared on Facebook.
Okay. In your packets, we have the April 2022 Safe Drivers indicated. I'd like to point out we have a 17-year safe driver, Patrick Gray, and that's his entire career. Patrick has driven for us for 17 years and has been a safe driver all the time, not one incident. So congratulations to him. The April Operations Employee of the Month is Kim Bird. She's a coach operator for Fixed Route. Congratulations. We'd also like to recognize Mike Roth, who is our Senior Director of Mobility Solutions, has been appointed to the board of the West Side Community Development Corporation. That's significant as we have our brand new facility over on West Michigan, and so he will be a part of the board over there. So congratulations, Mike. And then I would like to point out that we have a certificate of merit. So APTA, which as you know, I'm a board member for the American Public Transit Association, or APTA, and each transit agency has the ability to submit for awards and accommodations. And our safety department submitted for a Bus Safety Excellence Award, and it provides for providers for their innovative and proactive safety and security programs. IndyGo was the only U.S. transit agency to win this award. So I want to say congratulations to our risk and safety team who are here. Please stand up and be recognized. Here's our nice award from APTA. So thank you, team. Congratulations. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And I'm going to let you display this now until we move into our new facility.
Thank you.
I want to also recognize another employee who's done some really great things. Zena Williams, who became our wellness coordinator as part of our commitment towards wellness for our organization, has completed her corporate wellness coach and certification as for fitness nutrition. So we are well on our way to advancing our wellness program here at IndyGo. And then I want to give a special shout out to our workforce development program under the leadership of Denise Jenkins Eggers. As you know, we have been working towards, with the partnership of the ATU Local 1070, they have been working tirelessly over this last year with the ATU International. And we submitted our apprenticeship program to the Department of Labor, and we were just notified that we are now nationally recognized an apprenticeship program through the Department of Labor. And congratulations to that team. Mr. Chair, that concludes my reports.
Thank you. Next, we're going to do the committee reports, and the first one is on Governance and Audit Committee, and that is me. I'm the chairman of that, so I'll do that report. And we met on May the 17th, and in attendance was myself, chairman, Darius Gardner, and Rick Wilson. We reviewed and recommended board approval for the following items on tonight's agenda. Consent agenda item A2. An item from the committee meeting that I would like to highlight is A2. Approval of training review, Director of Governance and Audit Brian Atkinson and Consultant Corey Saunders presented this action item to the committee, and the primary objective in performing this process review was to evaluate the overall effectiveness of the company's training processes and protocols. The scope included reviewing relevant training policies and procedures, budgeting including per person and or per department, and budget prioritization, progression, how one moves on from basic trainings to more complex training, incentivizing around additional capabilities and certifications, feedback and improvement of IPTC developed training, compliance monitoring and management oversight, focused mostly on operators, but also universal requirements such as harassment, D&I, cybersecurity, and there were several other items we discussed, and IPTC's learning management system. Currently, training is provided through two separate teams. A centralized training leadership team manages the overall agency-wide training program and the learning management system. A separate training team dedicated within operations manages all operator and mechanic training. This meeting lasted about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Very comprehensive. Brian and his team have done a great job in bringing these issues up, and we had a ton of discussion during the whole meeting, the three of us. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And let's see, next we're going to do the Finance Committee, and Mary Ann, I think you're going to do it.
Take over for, as I can never will be able to take over for Mr. Wilson. We met May 19th at 8:30 a.m. In attendance was Rick Wilson, Chairman of the Finance Committee, as well as myself, Committee Member Mary Ann Fagan. We reviewed and recommended board approval for the following items on tonight's agenda. Consent agenda items A1, A3, A6, A8, and regular agenda item A5. An item from the committee meeting I would like to highlight is action item A3, approval of RFP 22-02-436. Senior Director of Facilities and Preventative Maintenance Paul Williams presented this action item to the Finance Committee. IPTC Procurement Department released a solicitation for industrial soap supplier services on February 16, 2022. The solicitation was advertised properly to reach potential suppliers, with emails sent out from contract specialists to suppliers of industrial cleaners. This solicitation received a single response from the current contract holder. The single response was turned over to the evaluation committee for a full review with scoring to verify that it met or exceeds the needs of the agency for this project. The scoring of the evaluation committee deemed Dubois Chemicals to be quality vendor and was within the independent cost estimate. The industrial soap scope consists of the following: shop floor cleaner, degreaser for the steam bag bus and parts power washing, interior bus cleaning soap for mopping floors, exterior bus wash soap for drive-through washers, and drying agent for the drive-through bus wash. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. We received your report. And next, Darius Gardner will give a Service Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Service Committee actually met on May 19th at 10 a.m. In attendance with myself, Darius Gardner, Chairman, as well as Lease Space and Hydrate Abdullah. We reviewed and recommended board approval for the following items on tonight's agenda. Consent agenda items A1 and A7, and then regular agenda items A4. An item from the committee meeting I would like to highlight is action item A7, approval of non-revenue vehicle purchase. And it says Deputy Chief Operating Officer Cheryl Purefoy presented, but I think it was Aaron, Chief Operating Officer, that presented this action item to the service committee. IPTC Fleet Service Department is responsible for providing vehicles, forum, and motor pool for staff use to perform various off-site work-related tasks. With the expansion of IPTC's new facilities, motor pool vehicle requests have increased, requiring the need for additional vehicles for staff use. Additionally, vehicles are aging and require replacement in a state of good repair. IPTC will be purchasing the vehicles using available City of Indianapolis government pricing, using a competitive quote process and through direct dealer solicitation. This is due to the nationwide computer chip shortage and vehicle availability. And Mr. Chairman, that completes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. We'll accept your report. Next is the consent agenda, and those are items A1, A2, A3, A6, A7, and A8. Are there any items on the agenda that a board member would like to add or remove to the consent agenda? If not, I'll ask we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right. Thank you. Now we'll move to the regular agenda, and that's item 5. And those are items A4, A5, and A9. First is A4, and that's consideration and approval of a contract extension and a task order for Superstops design services for Shrewsbury and Associates. And I think, Matt, you're going to do that? All right. Matt Duffy.
Good evening, members of the board. Matt Duffy. I'm a project manager of civil design in the Capital Projects Group. In a manner consistent with IPTC procurement contract award standards, it's requested that the board authorize IPTC to extend the master contract with Shrewsbury and Associates. That's RFQ 1702-250. That was first initiated in 2017. And to expire on May 31st, 2024. It's requested the board authorize IPTC to execute a task order with Shrewsbury and Associates to finalize design on that same RFQ on the remaining Superstops. Provide design services during construction for an amount not to exceed $103,174. So some background on this project. There are 8 total Superstops in and around downtown Indianapolis. 2 of them are already under construction right now as part of a project with partnership with DPW. The remaining 6 are what this fee would be associated with. So 2 of them are on Alabama, 2 of them on Vermont, and 2 of them on Fort Wayne. The Superstops themselves are 9-inch high raised platforms, so a little bit higher than the 6-inch platforms that we usually have for curbside stops. I like to call them the in-between from the curbside stops that we have and the BRT stops. So not all the elements of BRT and a little bit more elements than we have on the regular curbside. They're long enough to fit 2 40-foot buses at a time, which help to speed up boarding and lighting. We have shelters that are a little bit bigger than the curbside shelters, and they're not the red line covered boarding waiting area, so they're just shelters similar to the curbside stops. We'll have railings along the backside to delineate the platform from the sidewalk. And let's see, a little bit more discussion on this. I mentioned that Shrewsbury was selected in September 2017, so that extends this task order, extends the contract so that they can work on this task order through construction. and we're anticipating that this will start construction next year. We were awarded an FTA fund through the Bus and Bus Facilities Grant to fund the rest of these super stops, which is why we're progressing and finalizing design on this project. Shrewsbury & Associates is a DBE firm. They will be self-performing 64% of the work. The remaining 36% of the work is completed by subconsultant WSB. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thanks, Matt. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Just one question, and this may be further down the road. My southern accent's coming out. But will there be branding associated with the super stops to kind of indicate they're different in some way?
So there are, the most unique element of these super stops is that there is a pylon sign, and I guess I failed to mention there's real-time signs there as well,
Okay.
showing real-time arrivals. And on top of that real-time arrivals sign is backlit IndyGo logo, the same logo that we have. That's kind of the only thing that's different. It does have the tactile warning strips along the edge of the curb, similar to the red line stops that show the edge, railing along the side, so it's very clear that it's a transit stop.
So why does it call super stop?
Because it's a beefed up stop, if you will.
Okay.
So a little bit more than a curbside stop.
But you supersize it.
Supersized, sure. Yeah.
So it's bigger than the normal stop.
It is, yeah. It's about 100 feet long. So again, long enough to fit two buses at a time, which is huge. And these stops are all around the downtown area where we have a lot of routes that utilize these stops. And so the idea is you can have 2 buses at a time going through there, boarding and alighting, versus one at a time where you have to wait and pull up, and it's a lot easier for operators.
Have I seen this design before?
Not since you arrived.
This way.
Oh, you did send it to me.
But
Is
if
there
you,
safety features for passengers, for customers, for super stop, the safety features? I mean, to make sure that people safe and that kind of thing. I mean, like for the disabled, blinking light, whatever.
So do you mean like the emergency warning lights, or is that what you're referring to? Emergency call system?
The guardrail is a safety features that you have?
So the tactile warning strips are on the edge of the curb. Yep, so that's a 9-inch high curb that goes down to the road, and at the edge there's a 2-foot like rubber domes that people step on, and yes, that helps with those to understand there's a fall off at the edge.
It's a nice design, but your RFQ 17-02-250 said to finalize design. Does it mean it was pre-designed before and now it's time to finalize it?
We have not finalized it yet. So this was to fund the remaining piece to get complete final design.
Okay.
so the first 2 have been finalized.
Correct. The first 2 have been finalized. Thank you.
So
for
these are
clarifying
the
that.
last 6.
Yes. Yep. The first 2 are in construction right now. They'll open up in the next, hopefully about a month or so. We're hoping for June 12th to open those up. So.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Want to just clarify where the first 2 are, if Director Hydre Abdullah would like to go downtown and take a look at those?
Yes, they're not very impressive right now because they're just concrete with the tactile warning strips. But a lot of the work's going to be happening in the next couple weeks, actually.
So we do
But-
ride along then?
What's that?
Use the new vehicles?
Do a ride along?
Director, we spread all of our new vehicles throughout our entire system to ensure equity for all of our customers.
Yes, they're on Delaware Street. One's in the northeast corner of New York and Delaware, and the other one is on the northeast corner of North and Delaware.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And as someone who's blind, I do say that those tactile strips are truly lifesavers. So I'd like to live in a world where there are tactile strips to help me navigate.
That's good consideration for the next design, more for safety.
But more, this is Inez, I was President and CEO, but more information will be coming out to the board when it's time for the groundbreaking or ribbon cutting for the super stops, and we hope that many of you will attend the facilities.
This time I'll be in the picture.
I don't know.
When the camera calls, sir, you gotta come on over to that scene.
We'll see.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman said we
All
will see.
right. Can I get a motion and a second for consideration and approval of a contract extension and a task order for super stops design services for Shrewsbury and Associates?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? It passes. All right. So next, we're going to do A5, and that's consideration and approval of task order number 8 for 90% design of the Blue Line Bus Rapid Transit Project. Rapid, it is rapid. Jennifer.
Good evening, all. Thank you for having me. Jennifer Pierce, Vice President of Infrastructure Strategy and Innovation. We are coming tonight to ask for, in a manner consistent with IPTC contract award standards, we are requesting that the board authorize President and CEO to execute task order 8 with WSP Incorporated to supplement a previously contracted NEPA and design services contract for the Blue Line Bus Rapid Transit Project. The amount of this task order would not exceed $5 million. We awarded a task order-based contract to WSP back in 2018 to cover all of the NEPA and design services on the Blue Line. There was an overall master agreement, and then we negotiate the scope and fee for different task orders as design progresses. So far, we have given them task orders that cover through 60% design of the Blue Line. 60% design plans are going to be turned into us in 4 days, so it is time now to get them under contract to proceed with the design. This task order will progress the design to 90%, and it covers segments 2 through 5 of the Blue Line. We will need a future task order that will be necessary to address design progression of the termini and other smaller things that come up. So this is just for segments 2 through 5. It covers the design services that include things like any additional survey that's needed, geotechnical engineering, utility coordination, right-of-way engineering, and it does start our right-of-way acquisition services. So it covers right-of-way acquisition. They also will prepare an opinion of probable construction cost. Another way to say that is independent cost estimate as part of their design submittal at 90%. And they will help us with an update to our application to Federal Transit Administration for a Small Starts Grant, which is something that comes up every year. We'll be submitting a re-up on our application this August. The contract overall has achieved about a 20% DBE. They've been really aggressive on their DBE goals in the early stages. This particular task order is 16% DBE, which still exceeds what we'd asked for, which I think originally was 15%. They have subconsultants Shrewsbury, Etica Group, and Stephen J. Christian Associates. Also ASC Group and Dodd Title are all of the DBEs that are included in this specific task order. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Jennifer. Any questions?
No.
Okay, if not, can I get a motion and a second?
So
Thank you. Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It passes. Thanks, Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay, next is A9, and that's consideration approval of HR and payroll system. And Bart Willis, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, board. I am Bart Brown, CFO for IndyGo. First, I'd like to thank the board for allowing us to bring this to you last minute. I know it wasn't on either the committee agendas. This asked the board to authorize the president and CEO to enter into a contract with ADP for a term of 3 years in the amount of $679,955 and all important 28 cents. So currently we use ADP for all our workforce, payroll, e-time, and HR functions. Given the complexities of switching to a new system, we are asking the board to award this as a sole source contract. Therefore, there will be no open competition. ADP has not raised the rates with IPTC for the last 3 years. For this agreement, though, ADP offered a 0 increase for 2023, a 2% increase 2024, and a 2% increase in 2025, well below inflation. I'd like to give a special thanks to our Director of Procurement, Stacy Metz, for bringing this to my attention and preparing all the documents. So all I had to do was read. Mr. Chairman, that concludes this action item.
Okay, thanks, Bart. Any questions?
I do, that 2% increase, so this fee is for their service, right?
That's correct.
Did they justify the 2% increase? If we just only pay them for the fee, I mean, because all the money coming from us for the payroll, right?
We use their system. So in order for them to keep up the system and give us the updates, it's a service fee. And the 2%, again, is just, actually, that's a very small increase for some of the other IT licenses that we are renewing. And we believe it is a 0% and 2 and 2 is very fair.
I would like to have 0%.
So would we.
But 2% of, what, 2% of $600,079?
It's 2%, that's the 3-year, so it's just about 225,000 per year. So it's 2% on 225,000 in 2024. So next year, it's a 0% increase.
That's a real
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second for consideration and approval of HR and payroll system, the ADP contract?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None? Okay.
Thank you.
Passes. Thank you. Thanks, Bart. And so,
It's only
let's
one
see.
time sneak in.
Yes, sir. Noted.
No more, you go through finance.
Does it reset next year?
So we didn't have any items removed from the consent. So next is information items, and that's item number 6, which is the receipt of the finance report from Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bart Brown here again. This is the April 2022 financial summary under revenue. Our passenger revenue is under budget 7%, which is an improvement in collections over last month, and that percentage was, this is hard to explain. We are seeing an uptick, but we're not hitting the budgeted number, so we're still under budget on passenger revenue. For the month, we're 34,000 under, and for the year, we're 384,000 under what we hope to get this year. Then under local transit operating income, I reported at the Finance Committee, we got some good news. We got an extra distribution of our income tax of $4.3 million we were not expecting, so that will more than offset any passenger revenue we fall short of. That will actually be in next month's report, but I just wanted to give you that news since we had it. For all revenue, the agency is over budget, $267,000 for the month of April, and we are over budget, meaning we've collected $636,000 more than we anticipated for the year. Expenditures under personnel services, our fringe benefits continue to be under budget. For the month, $356,000. And for the year, we are under budget for personnel under fringe benefits at $1.1 million. Overtime expenses, once again, are higher than expected, over budget by $130,000 for the month. And for the year, we are over budget $509,000. And again, our salary expenditures are under budget. For the month of $712,000, and for the year, we are under budget for salaries of $2.4 million. For all personnel services category, we are under budget for the month of $939,000, and for the year, $3 million, almost $3 million exactly. Other services and charges in April are purchase transportation, which is our, used to be Open Door, but now we are IndyGo Access. That's under budget by $67,000, almost $68,000 for April, and year-to-date $427,000. And other services expense categories under budget $758,000, and a year $2.3 million. Overall, services and charges category is under budget by $1.2 million for the month of April, and $3 million year-to-date. And materials and supplies, the fuel and lubricant category is under budget $149,000 for the month and $645,000 for the year-to-date. I will inform the board, we got some projections for fuel. We're paying $2.20 a gallon. We were asked to budget about $3.29 for next year. So you'll see that at budget time. For the month, the total materials and supplies category is under budget $297,000 for the month, and year-to-date under budget $1.2 million. Overall expenditures under budget by $2.4 million for the month of April and $7.3 million year-to-date. On the next page, under non-budgeted requests, we have a new addition, a design of the South Madison charging equipment move. And this is, this was asked for $57,200. And what it is we are looking at moving from on-site where we bought the property to off-site of another piece of property that we own. And this is offset by savings. I added update of stimulus draws for CARES Act. We're awarded $44.2 million. We have collected $42.6 million for Carissa. We were awarded $21.1, and I'm happy to say we have collected all of that. And our ARP first draw of $49.5 that we were awarded, we have drawn down $31.2. And then lastly, under our capital project spending report, the only real addition to this is that we made a partial payment to BYD for the Red Line buses of $10 million. And Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks for any questions from the board?
Not a question, but just want to say I love the addition of the non-budgeted request. I think it just gives us a little bit more insight, and I don't remember who was the one that kind of initiated that, but I think it's been a nice addition to this report.
Well, since it was Mr. Wilson, you can take credit to that, since he's not here.
I'm on the finance committee, so.
You'll take that.
Okay.
Thank you
very much. Okay. That's the end of our formal meeting, I guess. But I would like to state, we have I want to recognize our president and CEO, Inez Evans. As many of us know, she was the WTS International Woman of the Year and went to Seattle, Washington, and was awarded that at the annual conference, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
And she also was the Indiana Chapter Woman of the Year.
Yep.
And I was there at that.
You were there.
So we just want to say congratulations. That's a tremendous, tremendous award and accomplishment and recognition for what you've done, and we all appreciate everything that you've done. We know it's not been an easy couple of years.
No, it's been interesting, and thank you, board directors, but I would say, I would just add that, you know, it's a tremendous honor to be here at IndyGo and to be your president and CEO, but I wish I could have said it was a team award, because I wouldn't be the Woman of the Year for IndyGo without the team that I have here at IndyGo. So to me, it's a joint award. You know my name's on it, but I consider it a full IndyGo effort, and so thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, in closing, I'd like to thank everybody for attending and the staff. It's great to be back normal. Thank you. And also just want to thank all of our employees and everybody that has persevered through this last 2.5 years, whatever it's been. We're all losing track. And I know we got a long ways to go with a lot of projects, but it's been an incredible ride here. I know we got a lot more to do. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.